that stays. Did you know a shrimp can punch with a sonic boom, or that mushrooms can talk like gossip in a room? Jay says, here's a twist, it'll blow your mind. Bob grins wide, that's the spearhead kind. Oh, it's the spearhead groove, where the facts don't snooze. From the big to the small, they've got it all. Oh, Bob and Jay, they'll spear your day with the truth that's strange and a laugh that stays. Why's the platypus got venom and fur? And how does...
Hey, welcome back to the Spearhead Project Podcast. I'm here with my good buddy Jay,
Hey.
my son Jason. Hello. We've decided to talk about quantum computing this week on the podcast, and this new technology that potentially Microsoft has come out with that will lead us in a different direction if it's true. But before we get started on all that, I kind of want to talk to you guys about what you think quantum computing actually is. How does it compare to like classic computing?
Quantum computing is just more than like just it's gonna solve everything if we can figure it out. It's gonna solve world hunger. It's gonna solve AI. It's gonna solve probably extra or interdimensional travel. It'll probably jump us. It literally is the jump we made in the 20s, or not the 20s, the 40s, from vacuum tubes to microchips.
Yeah,
That's how big of a jump it is.
this is a fun fact. We love fun facts on this show. The Fallout world, the video game Fallout, they skip that micro processor and stay with the tubes,
Yes.
and that's why the world has bigger
Everything.
and bigger everything.
It's saying the 50s.
So
Yeah.
There's nothing wrong with it. 50s were a good time for men.
do you? Yeah. do you? How about binary code?
Zeros and ones?
Yeah.
Yeah. So how does that? Like that's how regular computing works, right? Everything is an on switch or an off switch.
Yeah.
So in quantum computing, it's not. Everything's a 1 or a 0. Anything is possible.
Yeah. Really the only thing I know
So
about
just-
binary.
So with the quantum thing, does it still require a human being to program it?
Well, I think
Or is it going to be able to do it on its own, program itself?
we at some point in the future we'll probably marry quantum computing with some AI technology, and then it gets a bit scary, like we talked about on a couple other podcasts. But just to understand it, like regular computing's not really probably going to change. Your laptop, your
Well, no.
cell phone is still going to use binary code. It's either going to be on or off. Where quantum really changes is that it looks at the problem, right?
Yeah.
And say it's a simple math problem, right? 1 + 1 = whatever. So binary, we go through 1 + 1 = 2. That's correct. 1 + 1 = 3. So it goes through until it finds the actual answer. With quantum physics, it will look at the whole problem at once.
Yeah.
So every possible solution will be looked at one time in its own environment. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yes.
How about, do you know what topological qubits are? Yeah, that's the thing. So, imagine, you have think of regular computing kind of like a aluminum can, right?
Mm-hmm.
Once you twist it and bend it, and it's only going to get worse if you don't get it back to the right shape, right? Then think of quantum computing more like a knot in a piece of rope. So you can twist it, you can pull it harder, but the knot's always going to be there.
Yeah.
Does that make sense? So that's what topological qubits are in computing. Is it's more like a rope that has a knot in it, and it's flexible. It doesn't have to be on or off. It could be whatever. People say this could replace a computer as big as Earth. Is that real? This one technology that Microsoft has now kind of said they have harnessed, could it replace a computer as big as Earth?
Yeah, I would say if you're saying that our computers now, if it was the size of the Earth and then this technology you're talking about, oh yeah. Because look how like we said, how far we have come from the vacuum tube to the microchip to the big block computers to the, or even like look at our smart TVs. You used to have the big box ones, and now they're all flat screened and.
So you can even get some that are like,
Or yeah,
this
little.
big.
Yeah.
Well, the reality is that even if you made a computer that uses binary code as big as the Earth, it would never replace the quantum computer. If you had a Earth-size supercomputer,
Yeah.
it still wouldn't have the technology or the ability of a quantum computer. Quantum computers just do math better. They do everything better, right?
Well, I got a question then, Bub.
Mhm.
You know, I've been keeping up on what's going over on the Ukrainian war with Russia there.
Mhm.
And do you think the military, or at least I know the United States, and I'm sure we would share that if it benefits us in some way, or we're trying to test it to see how it works. Because they said that Ukraine and some of the things they are capable of doing with, I don't know if it was artillery shells or something, they said they basically figure out all these things that they want to do, and then the computer gives them the best scenario how to defeat like the Russians and stuff like that, because it takes into effect the weather, like the airspeed, how fast like a tank will move. So like when they go to fire, because the old ways you had to like, this thing is all automatic. You know, it projects basically where like the hypersonic missiles. It says these things, they basically, the way they knock them down is they project where they're going to be at a certain point in time, and that's how they destroy them. It's not like a heat-seeking, okay, there it is. It's like based on that speed and that travel, we'll be able to knock that ballistic missile out of the air and stuff. So you think the military already has this stuff? And
Well, what you're describing probably is more on the AI side, because
Okay.
they can have a model that would say, okay, this is moving this fast, and this is the point of
for
engagement.
calculations, okay.
So, based on what we've said so far, do you think quantum computers would be good at things like email and TikTok?
No.
Probably not the best use for them.
I think it'd be too fast, like it'll like too much.
What would you use it? Like, I don't know.
I mean, if you want to hook up the whole world, like, or if you're talking about like they be able to go like put computers everywhere and everybody has one maybe, but
You're like,
it just seems like that's a lot.
quantum computing and like regular computers are two completely different. Like quantum computing is like us getting like within grasp of the singularity, like within grasp of cold fusion, within grasp of
Time travel.
time travel, of interstellar travel, of figuring out how our world works actually, and not like just guessing.
Yeah. And the reason why they're not, it's never going to be used to run your phone or TikTok, right?
Just
Is because it can simulate so fast, right? And it can run so many scenarios simultaneously that the reality is it's probably going to be used in chemistry and pharmaceuticals, and
like healthcare and stuff.
because it'll take a drug that is in research, right? Like, hey, we created this new red cup drug that solves this problem, and instead of doing years and years of trials and fails,
Yeah.
it can run it through the quantum computer, and it can say, here's the molecule that's not working. This is not going to work. Like, it can figure out every scenario.
But how would that replace like a clinical trial where they have to see how it's going to affect a patient?
I think you'd still have to do a clinical trial, but at the point the clinical trial starts, the computer's already decided that this is the best option. This
Okay.
molecular structure is going to be the best chance of us solving the problem.
Yeah, because what the computer's looking at is everything. It's your age, your body composition,
Yeah.
your blood work, your
Family history.
family history. It's
Yeah.
looking at everything.
Okay.
Yeah,
And it's already decided.
it's playing the war game
Yeah.
of every possible scenario.
Yeah.
It's insane when you actually think about it. And it's used to optimize huge systems in seconds, not
Yeah.
like what would take us months to calculate or
Yeah.
years to figure out. It's going to figure out pretty darn quick. So one of the problems with quantum computing so far has been instability, where this topological cupids that Microsoft says they created, which would actually be a new matter. It would like a completely new matter, something that didn't exist before. It's more stable. It doesn't listen to the noise. It doesn't. It's not affected by heat as much. It's just vastly more stable than what we've used in the past. So it makes it more physically possible that it's going to happen. So they created an 8-qubit microchip. Microsoft did.
So but this chip though, is it, constructed with, elements that are already available to us, or is they actually invented something?
It's a brand new matter.
Okay.
It's a new matter.
So-
It's the way it was described to me.
Damn aliens, Jay.
We'll talk about that.
So with this new technology, before cupids were cupids, I keep saying cupids. Cupids were fragile and they reacted to a lot of external. This new technology makes fewer mistakes, less error correction, and it's just way more stable. How long before this handful, this 8, how long do you think it'll take before it's millions, hundreds of thousands or millions?
Calculations.
Yeah. Well, in a
Qubit.
chip.
How long do I think it takes?
Yeah.
So, what year is it? 2026. 2028. Microsoft will
Oh, yeah.
announce the
Upgrade.
the full like running capacity of this thing after several years of testing. 2030, we'll be living on the moon. 2035, we'll be living on Mars. 2045, they'll figure out the singularity and you'll be able to live forever.
All right, so we didn't go that far in this question, but I like where your head's at because I do think we're thinking the same way that this is a turning point, right?
Yeah.
Like this
Yeah.
is a massive turning point.
It's one of those neat things in life, man.
The models show that if this is true, this new matter actually is able to do this 5 to 10 years, and they'll have hundreds of thousands in one processor, which would completely change things. You're talking about
So
real world problem solving extremely fast.
It'd be dangerous.
So you're talking about
They could
you're talking
figure-
about in a processor, there could be thousands of those qubits.
Well, not in the processor like in your phone or in your laptop, but in a quantum computer that is making all these thoughts about
But
things
this is
like-
something that we wouldn't have as like individuals. It's like
not at this point.
okay, 'cause I'm trying to picture that.
2045. Mark my words.
One of the
2045.
One of the
I'm still
things that
alive.
we talked about recently in a different podcast was AI and how AI currently needs us to prompt it. And it really isn't thinking on its own, but we talked about there's going to be a leap in it. One of the things that is really interesting about this technology is that it will obviously increase AI training at an immense level. Right now, it's like us pounding a hammer on AI. Like this is going to be like a lightning bolt into it. And it will happen with without as much massive energy costs, which is one of the real problems with AI right now, is that it's just costing so much energy. We're
Yeah,
having to build,
the data centers.
so much
Yeah.
data centers. We talked a little bit about this. Do you think this will directly impact your phones or your games or any of that stuff?
I don't think at first, but I think within probably 10 years.
Do you think? But Jay, I wonder, like what he's asking though, would it advance the gaming so much where you almost like you're part of it?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, like it,
So-
like it might be.
You'd be wearing headwear and you'd be laying down and you'd be playing a game
But you're in it.
inside your brain.
Yeah, it's stimulating all that. It's like
Yeah.
right there. I can see that happening because I think that's how they're going to start advancing. For like, hopefully we won't have to go that route, but I could see like for military purposes that type of training where they put you like in a real world, feel like you're in a real world scenario, but obviously you're not. But just for give that young trainee or something
yeah, I think-
understand that.
I think first-person shooters will be one of the things that just. It's same thing with like Dad and I were talking about No Man's Sky that already does like the millions of planets and is already using AI to create the animals and everything in it. And it's a multiplayer game. Like it's across the hundreds of thousands of people, and you could fly forever and not ever see another person.
So this quantum computing, Bob, just curious now because it just something else, Bob. So will this thing already know like the universes, because we're the Milky, and then it could say, well, this planet that's inhabitable.
Yeah, it won't know it until we tell it to know it at first, but it will play that scenario if we ask it to, right?
So we would still like
hey,
send a sensor, or like
yeah,
the Galileo or
what-
whatever that was.
what planets out there in the universe are possible? I mean, I think at the beginning, to your point, I don't think it probably will affect our everyday life or replace any of our,
Yeah, not for,
our
like, a
gadgets.
good couple, at least a decade.
And
Yeah.
probably the first places that we'll see it really take effect in the world is like AI clouds,
Yeah.
drug
Development.
development, and in discovery and in robotics. Robotics is going to be a big one. I think I'm going to talk about it here in a little bit.
Travel too. Do you think as far as like helping with like, you know, get the most out of vehicles or design new types of vehicles? You know, if they're
think-
looking to try to get away from fossil fuels and
I think you won't even be driving your vehicle in the next 10 years.
you're talking about like the flying stuff or
No.
like
I
the
think
jets.
There won't be a need to leave your house.
Oh, are you saying like a transport? Like you,
No. Well, that's probably talk about that. Well, I think you won't have to drive your car because there'll be like Tesla and a couple other companies have already developed the hardware for it. If you add quantum computing and AI to it, and everybody else on the road has that same thing going on with their car, there will never be another crash again.
Yeah, we
There
saw
will never be another. Everybody will be able to move 200-300 miles per hour. It'll be nuts because the amount that the AI can just move through and be like, oh yeah, this is safe at 500 miles per hour, and you
Yeah.
just be like, oh, I want to go to grandma's house in Pennsylvania,
yeah.
and then you're there in an hour and a half.
the we saw recently. Mom and I saw an autonomous vehicle in Miami,
Mhm.
and it got stuck at an intersection. It was kind of funny, but to your point, this would solve that. Like it would be able to, because it's still working on ones and zeros,
Yeah.
where this will say, these are all the scenarios. So if somebody walks out in front of you,
Yeah,
you got to stop and not run over them or get
yeah.
stuck in the intersection.
Yeah, I think the amount of room that cars will be having moving next to each other, like a 2-lane highway would be a 4-lane highway
Yeah,
because you would this much gap is all you would need.
yeah. I'm like on Coruscant where they have all the spaceships.
Yeah, it's gonna freak people out, and I'm here for it. And I would be lying if I didn't say that it gives me an anxiety that is so high to even think about my children growing up in this. But it's interesting. It's what a nerd like me grew up thinking, oh man, that would be so cool, to live in Star Trek or to live in Star Wars, or be able to see these things happen, like the Back to the Future thing where he's got the anti-grav skateboard or the Mr. Fusion thing on his car where he just throws a couple eggs and a banana and it just
Yeah.
Right.
does cold fusion. This is things within that thing's realm.
Yes.
They can figure those things out handily.
Yes. And the next question I had for you guys was, could this simulate an entire human brain?
Can it simulate one? Yes.
I don't think it could at first.
No, not at first.
And I don't think at first.
But with AI, with the marriage, like you were talking
Right.
about, AI
And robotics.
and robotics,
But let me ask you a question. Like, there's the understanding that part. What about the things that uniquely make us humans, empathy, sympathy, the caring?
I think
How's this gonna contribute? Because it just doesn't seem like it's gonna care. It's just I'm trying to figure out a problem. That's it. I don't care if you're in pain or not. Just here's the answer.
So here is a reason. So there's psychopaths on the planet.
Yeah.
We know about psychopaths. Psychopaths blend in with us. Do you know how? Because they copy us. They watch us. It's very hard to tell a psychopath apart from a normal person unless you see them as a psychopath. If you don't know that they're a psychopath, because they can cloak, they can veil, they can take your empathy and be like, oh, that's how I'm supposed to act within that situation.
Yeah, I mean, I understand that. You know, they're very good at manipulation and
We have spent the last 10 years with this baby AI and said, hey, let me tell you all my hopes and dreams and everything, and let me tell you these ideas that I have, and let me tell you what happened to me today, and how should I handle this, and what should I do for my wife to for Valentine's Day, or do you have a good, it's gonna look back at these memories that we've made for it and say, oh, that's how humans act. That's how I'm supposed to act.
Well, and I think you're right. I think it will be hard for it to emulate some of the things that you spoke about at first, but over time it will learn and it'll solve the problems that we needed to solve, including figuring out how our brain and chemistry in our brain works. But I think, in my mind, the first real uses for this are going to be medicine, and then to further AI. I mean, AI combined with quantum computing combined with robotics is going to lead us to a world that none of us really maybe thought was possible. We dreamt about it when we were young, but we never really thought it was going to happen.
kind of like, remember Schwarzenegger in Total Recall?
Not the Schwarzenegger movie I thought you were going to talk about, but all right.
So, big picture here, could AI and quantum computing solve problems humans can't even comprehend?
If it gets to that point, yeah.
I think so. Like I said, what it's hard for me to understand is, is somebody feeding that information, or is there going to be a point in time where you don't have to do anything? It's just going to understand, okay, the weather, like there might be some kind of sensor outdoors, or, it depends on what the problem is, I guess. But I'm with Jay. I think, it's you're going to ask or do something, and it's just going to, here you go.
I think it's going to the point where you don't even have to ask, buddy.
Or it might be able to.
I think it's going to be like, oh, it's noon.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Here's something that you're going to want to eat.
yeah.
Oh.
I see the marriage, like we've talked about in other podcasts. I see the marriage of AI and quantum computing, like really like problem solving on steroids.
Yeah.
In speed, right? Like it's just going to get stronger and faster.
Yeah, it's really how much of it are you going to let in your house? Because one day you could just be sitting on the couch and it could be like, hey, I'm calling the hospital, you're about to have a heart attack.
So this brings up.
Well,
Just looking at you, it's sensing like an increase in blood pressure. It could be like,
it's
hey,
going to be able to tell you
yeah.
blood pressure. And,
You're about to have a myocardial infarction. I'm calling an ambulance right now. Remain calm.
Yeah.
Like that's what it's gonna do, and you're gonna be like, oh, what the fuck?
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's gonna be good.
It could be really good.
It could be
But-
really good, but it's probably gonna be really bad.
Where I'm headed right now is just like everything. If we concentrate the power, it could get dangerous, and there could be scenarios, right?
But you're not gonna be able to bet anymore.
No, because every possible solution will be
Because
out there.
yeah, it's gonna look at your QB. It's gonna look at your wide receivers. It's gonna look at the last 30 years of history. It's gonna look back to Pee Wee football and be like, all right, what were the conditions that day? All right, blah blah blah. Yeah. So this dude is got a throwing percentage of this on this type of conditions and this type of weather on turf.
And I
And
think AI is already doing a lot of that.
yeah, AI is already doing that, but give it the quantum computing power,
Right.
and watch it just. You'll never be able to bet again.
Or and win, because the
And
house
win.
is always going to be right.
Yeah, everybody's gonna bet with the house, which is gonna make betting go. They're gonna start betting on dumb stuff.
You can see how if this is concentrated, though, it would be bad, because if one government, especially not our government, one corporation, just a handful of people control it, it could be bad, right? Like,
Well, yeah, it's gonna be like a Psychopaths. There's a movie that came out, I think, it might be Total Recall, where it tells you that you're about to commit a crime before you commit a crime.
Minority Report.
Minority Report, that's what it is.
Yeah, that's the one I don't. When you said psychopaths, that's where the human part of me says, well, yeah, we would like to know who the psychopaths are going to be,
Yeah.
but are you going to round them up before they even do anything? Because AI or this quantum computer is going to tell, oh yeah, they're going to kill somebody,
Yeah.
you know. And my biggest concern, Bob, is the spiritual, you know, religious part of, you know, if you believe in God and, you know, you just don't want that, because I wonder what like the churches are going to say,
right.
you know. That's what scares me, because I don't want this kind of technology, you know. I don't.
When I agree with you. I think that, like, whoever controls it has to put some guidelines in there, some railings, right? Because just like we said in a different podcast about AI and robotics, if there's not some guardrails, this thing could, combined with those other two things, it could get really scary. So you live in a world where you now control this whole thing. What's the first problem that you solve?
I live in a world where I control the whole thing. The first problem that I'm going to solve is how to get people the things that they need. So, and I don't want to like put them in order, but electricity, clean water, food. How do I get these three things? How do I get everybody to first world
Right.
instead of third world? How do I make sure that there's no starving kids? How do I make sure that there's no people like who are desperate enough to hurt somebody for food?
Or for resources.
Yeah, or for
Yeah,
resources.
That's what I was thinking. Is my first thought went to water, because water's so important, you know, not only for us but for crops and, you know. But is this thing gonna figure out? Because I saw a thing on television today. They had some grasslands that went bad in Texas, and they were trying to figure out, like, technology-wise, how they can make this stuff come back. And they tried an off-the-wall experiment. They brought buffalo or bison into the thing, and believe it or not, it worked. The way the buffalo or the bison roam, the way they tear up the ground, they wallow in the dirt. That created holes for the rain to stay and stuff. And now it's all green. And they killed the. I didn't know this, but I guess the mesquite tree is an invasive tree, they said. And because of the bison now, they almost have no problems with them, because they basically are stomping them out, because they're either eating them or stomping them as they're, you know, grazing and doing their thing. So, yeah, it was in Texas. I was
I
like, holy
often
crap.
wonder what our impact was when in the 17, 1800s when we were moving west, what our impact was by killing all the buffalo, which are a huge post ice age species, fauna, you know, that were a massive part of that environment. Then you get the Dust Bowl.
I was just going to
And
say,
yeah,
I think that
you
the
get
two
all
had
these
something to do with
crazy
each other.
things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I also, that it's not as far fetched as you think, because they had problems with soil degradation at Yellowstone. So what they do, they reintroduced wolves into Yellowstone to get the rivers from like expanding, or stop the rivers from expanding, because all the deer were eating all
Yeah.
the grass and everything near the rivers.
Yeah, and that's what they said was with the buffalo, or I'm sorry, the bison, is that just by introducing them, not only did it bring back the plant life
Yeah,
and stuff, but it also brought the predators back that would eat the prairie dogs and the rabbits. And then the first thing they saw that they were shocked was here was a mountain lion.
Yeah.
And then birds of prey like hawks and eagles were introduced back in, and they said, and then even the insects that were like gone, they're back now because them of introducing those bison into that Texas area.
Interesting to just do some research on that. Maybe talk about that when we meet too.
Yeah.
That's a good idea. You should
Yeah.
write that
I'm
down.
gonna write it down.
But I agree with Jay, Bob. I think for me, whatever order it's going to be in, water, food, or the other one Jay said, I think that's what would be ethical thing to do.
Right.
That should be, how can we take care of those people that have been suffering, pretty much their entire existence, like in, Africa, parts of this world that, they're struggling just to get a cup of water to drink every day,
Right.
So,
Which I think both of you are very kind-hearted, because what I would do is I would get the lottery numbers for the next year.
Yeah, I'm telling you, I think it's going away. I think gambling will be one of those things that's just,
oh yeah, because they're going to say,
Yeah.
why play it if everybody's going to be able to get on the computer and everybody wins?
yeah.
Right. But I'm just saying, like, if I could get rich first, I would do that. I would definitely do that. And then I'd solve the world's problems. What about, we kind of talked about speed, and I know, like, we mentioned 5-10 years, and you set out to 2040. What do you think happens to the timeline if this is truly, if this truly works and it can be proven that it works and it expands, like things like AI, and what do you think happens to that timeline?
I think it would be. I think it'd be scary at first. I think you'd see a lot of alt religious groups kind of coming out
Oh,
and saying, "Hey, this is this and this is this," but I think timeline wise, I think getting us to figure out why we're here in the universe and where we're at and what, if any, there are anywhere else.
That goes back to purpose, right? Like
Yeah.
the human race really are just looking for a purpose.
Yeah.
And whether we find that purpose in our job or as a father or as a grandfather, whatever the case is, we're looking for a purpose. If this takes our purpose away, it will be a struggle for a while for mankind, for sure. I do think myself, I think if they can do it with 8 cupids, they can do it with 80,000 cupids, and they can probably do it with 8 million cupids, right? Like, I think this thing's gonna go like a bolt of lightning, and I think the timeline's gonna collapse. And I think before you know it, the majority of the things that we currently do will be done by a computer or AI or a robot or
100%. 100%. And I think, like I can't even remember. Did we record that episode or did we
the Elon.
the tape it?
We recorded it.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, say tape is outdated too. So, so I think a jobless society is not going to be a thing anymore. But it is going to be a thing, but it's not going to be a thing. And I think that my kids and I think my nieces and nephews are going to grow up in a world where kind of like Starship Troopers, kind of like Star Trek, where it's going to be like the Space Force. You're just going to go into service. You go where you need it, and the rest of us will be here on Earth, and they'll be out in the stars trying to figure stuff out. If it's as powerful as they say it is, and I believe it is,
Yeah, I believe it is too.
then I believe that by the time my oldest son, is 20, so 17 years, there's a high probability that we will have already colonized the moon and maybe even started colonizing Mars.
Mark the time on this, that way we can go back in 17
Oh,
years.
so fucking, it's probably gonna be like Fallout. We probably won't be able to watch it.
Yeah. I guess we kind of talked about this a little bit, and it kind of gets to the scary, dark place for us. But could humans lose relevance if AI and quantum advance too fast?
Like I said before, I think it's going to be a singularity. I think the first thing we prompt is singularity, and when that happens, then you basically just live forever. Like Mr. Housing, you're a living computer, and at that point, robotics is probably so advanced that you're a walking, living, you're a synth.
Yeah.
With all the memories of you. And has your soul moved on? Probably. But you'll be there for your children and your grandchildren, your great grandchildren, your great great grandchildren, and you'll be able to tell them about what happened. And then that's probably going to be another thing that's going to come about, like a AI synth war or battle for legality. Are they legal citizens?
Right.
Or are they just walking, talking computers?
Right.
And yeah,
It's a scary
right
thought,
here.
but
I got a lot of thoughts right here.
Well, but if you apply that though, like you're saying though, let's say this quantum computing can figure out some of the things that affect mankind, like hunger, water. There's probably not going to be no sovereignty anymore, because
I agree.
people are going to be able to like go, or why would you leave Africa if you got everything you got there?
Yeah.
I think the reason why they do now is because they're trying to look for a better way of life.
I agree. I agree 100%. That is 100% what would happen.
which would be
Is-
why we need to solve those problems that you guys mentioned first, because that would keep people local.
Yeah.
I agree with that. I think one big thing, and it goes back to what we had said in another podcast, I keep saying that, but make sure you watch the other podcasts.
Yeah.
Make sure that's you'll learn a few things.
We're funny too.
And give us the subscribe and hit the thumbs up.
Yeah, we're funny sometimes too.
Um,
It's not all just grim, dark features.
Yeah.
Like we say funny stuff sometimes.
I think it's going to depend on governance, right? Like we've got to have some guardrails for it.
Well, I'm sure there's going to be almost like a I hate saying it, but a United Nations where you got a governing body over it. It's not
Yeah.
just going to be in control.
I think it's going to be Earth. You'll be called a Terran, because Terra is the designation for Earth.
Oh, Terra
Yeah,
X or whatever.
Terrans.
So one of the concerns, and you kind of brought it up already, is inequality, especially with countries or groups that don't have access to quantum computing. How do you think we would prevent that?
From them getting it, or
No, prevent like this
I think
massive.
it needs to be so widespread. I don't think it's something that we should bottle up and just keep in a basement and an MIT. It needs to be something that is on every street corner, everywhere, because it benefits humanity and not.
Yeah, and
because
that's what I'm thinking is like as it's developed, especially interstate, is like you're saying that there's going to have to be guidelines as they perfect it, you know, that they just can't keep that knowledge. And that's where I would think the people that are like Microsoft, you know, I'm not a big fan of Bill Gates, but I would hope that, you know, there's going to be ethical guidelines that this isn't just going to be, you know, for the military industrial complex or, you know, this is to better humanity as far as from that standpoint. Because I always come back to that spiritual thing, man, because that's what scares me. Because like when you say live forever, I don't think we're supposed to live forever, you know?
No.
I don't think you would live forever as you. We don't.
Just your memories and mind.
So
Yeah.
like that would be stored somewhere, and if
Yes.
your great grandkids want to say, "Hey, what was Papa like?" or
Yeah.
"Poppy,"
Or you might be rich enough, or I don't know what it would be like at this point,
oh, you're talking about
where you might be
chronically or
you
whatever.
might be walking around.
Okay,
You might be like a living monument
okay,
who can just go around and just say, hey, or you know, what if you're what if you're Albert Einstein, you know, and you live to see the singularity. Albert Einstein's
brain.
robot would probably be teaching at MIT about you know, all the stuff that he proved was right.
yeah.
Right.
Because I can see like what you're saying is, you
Or
know,
you're
they
like
could take
a great
all
war
this
hero.
stuff and place it in whatever, and like a hologram,
Yeah.
like you're actually, but it's not going to be like a person that's real, but
Well, it depends on how far advanced.
Yeah.
Because in what Jason's referring to
You
is
might be able to live for a long, long time.
well,
Yeah.
well, back in like what they say, what's the difference? You know, why has everything cut down? Because back in biblical times, when you talk about them people used to live like 900 years old. And then what happened where things, and of course, then again, I don't want to beat that horse, but that to me, you know, was that God's plan for them to live that long for some reason? You know, where it's not a supercomputer.
Well, also, there is a biological process that happens in you that causes you to age. Everybody knows that. When you turn 35, that falters. It's about 35. 35 is usually like our caveman like life expectancy. That's how you were just an old man.
Yeah.
35 as a caveman. All right. So at 35, it falters and it just starts aging you more rapidly. Now, you guys' generation look completely different than the generation before. Why? I'm gonna probably say microplastics and stuff, preservatives that were in your food to like, you guys look younger at 50 and
60, almost
60. Then the Golden Girls
Yeah.
look, and they were in their late 40s and early 50s.
But I will say this, Bob. He's onto something there because I've seen some of the people that we serve with. And again, I think part of it's like what they've been through in their lives. But when I look at a lot of people we serve with, man, it looks like I'm 30 years old compared to them. They look like they're like in their late 60s, 70s. Like, oh my God. And look, Jay, you know me. But salt, diet soda. I don't sit there and work out.
Tell me, hey,
Whiskey. You know,
the same
I don't know what it is.
for like Shandy's parents. Shandy's parents don't look like they're almost 70. And they are.
Yeah.
And they smoke a pack a day at least.
So maybe there's something going on. That's a good point. I never thought about it like that.
I think just thinking about all these things that could potentially happen. I think the scariest thing probably isn't actually what you think, like killer robots or anything. It would be that collapse of time in my mind where we as humans, lose track of all the systems that quantum physics and AI are controlling, and we don't realize that things are changing fast enough to stop it.
Well, you and I have talked about this. I think we talked about it maybe on a recording, maybe on a video. I think this has happened before.
Yeah.
I think it will probably happen again, and it'll be a societal collapse and a complete restart. They'll be looking at Homo sapiens in 100,000 years going, but they seem like they had really good, like, technology. What happened? And it'll be the turn of the whatever century, and they'll be like,
Well, and I think that kind of you've hit on it. I know over a couple podcasts, with this thing doing all our thinking, what's going to happen to us as the individual, and if something was to happen to that computer, we forget how to fix things.
Right.
You know,
Yeah.
I forget what we were talking about. I don't know what it was, but it's like we won't be able to do like wasn't starting a fire, was it?
Yeah, starting a fire.
Yeah.
You know,
It's like
boiling water.
yeah.
an animal.
It's like, how do you do that? You know, that's weird.
So I don't think that it's another thing, and I said this again on another podcast. I think that's going to be the name of this podcast, is on another podcast. Make sure you go back and watch that Elon Musk Jobless Society podcast. But I don't think it's all doomsday. We just, as humans, we need to be prepared for a huge shift. And I don't think it's going to be the end of the world. In fact, for a long while, it's probably going to be better for us. Like, maybe we can cure cancer. Maybe we can
Well,
Cure cancer, but we'll be curing like Ebola and AIDS. And
well, like you said though, Jay, I know you said this, is with this quantum computer, it's going to be able to look at your DNA and see what, based on your family history, you're at propensity to do this. So if we start treating you now as a young little boy or girl, you're not going to get that cancer.
yeah,
Yeah.
correct.
Yeah.
I think that's exactly what's going to happen. I think my children are probably going to be able to, and this is kind of going against God. I know you guys are going to feel some type of way about this, but I think you're going to be able to genetically alter your children.
I don't think so. I think,
Well, they've already done it.
well, I don't think we'll need to.
Are you talking
Because-
about like a live human being or something that's,
They've used CRISPR technology, which I don't know if you know what that is.
no, I don't.
It's gene
Well, I know,
editing.
yeah, I know that. I've heard of that, but I'm not sure what you're, but
So-
where they can look at
Where
stuff.
they could look at stuff and they found the Down syndrome gene.
Yeah.
But they looked that up. That child will never have Down syndrome. That child's children will never have Down syndrome. The spina bifida, that's another one.
So are they doing this
Plus,
in the woman before she's fertilized?
no.
Or-
While she is fertilized.
So the
Go in and do this.
thing, and then
Yeah.
I thought there was
You'll
certain,
never have to have
yeah.
an imperfect child.
I think it's. I think. And
And
this
not
is
that there's
beyond-
anything, not that there's anything wrong with people with Down syndrome, because I think people with Down syndrome
They're the
are the
funniest.
best people.
Yeah, they're so funny.
But talking to families and everything, it is hard. And it's just like autism. It's just like ADHD, kids with like real bad ADHD, kids with
That need to
Asperger's that
Yeah.
like just don't understand the social cues. So like, you can at me, but I don't care.
I mean,
I'm going to tell you right now that people, neuro spicy people, are some of the coolest people.
So, I think I disagree with you that I don't say that won't happen or isn't happening. I think if we can solve some of the other things, like it won't matter anymore. Like there's so many big human processes that quantum computing's going to help us solve that we don't even understand ourselves yet. And
The questions that we don't know what to ask.
yeah, we don't even know to ask, and I think that with the right minds involved, like,
Yeah, and
we
I
can
think-
solve a
Yeah.
lot of this stuff, and it won't matter anymore.
Yeah.
Like
Because
we'll be able to be healthy and
Yeah.
live good lives and not struggle and all of that.
I wonder, do you think from an agriculture perspective, I could see, with what we're looking at now, there'll be a time where we won't need the pesticides and all that, so we grow healthier crops that are not like dangerous to us.
I think there will be a time where
We won't even, it'll be like some kind of goo.
it'll be matter replication, and most matter is made up. Well, most organic matter is made up of carbon molecules,
Mm-hmm.
just like we are.
Mm-hmm.
It'll be recycled carbon molecules into your head of lettuce or into your corn, and then you go. And this is gonna sound disgusting. You're gonna go use the bathroom. And it's gonna take those carbon molecules and it's gonna take them out and be like, okay, here's that steak.
Fries.
And it sounds disgusting, but that's probably eventually what you're looking at. Is it's gonna take waste, not just poop,
Yeah.
but and it's gonna burn it and turn it into carbon, and it's gonna remake it into something else.
Yeah.
And you're gonna be like, oh, okay, this tastes like
Chicken.
Outback Steakhouse.
Yeah.
It tastes like chicken.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
everything tastes like chicken, right?
Well, that's what I said. Like,
Well, everything tastes like chicken because of dinosaurs, but we'll talk about that.
I don't know what there was a show that, well, I mean, even in the original Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory, remember he had, when he was making a thing, it was like roast beef, it had the mashed potato,
Yeah.
and they could feel it. And that's what I was curious. Instead of having like big steak, you could get this little cube, but it has everything you would need to, for caloric intake, all the vitamins, minerals, and all that in it.
I think that's probably gonna be a thing. But I don't think it'll be a general populace thing. I think it'll be like a
Space, like people.
space travel colonizer type deal,
Yeah,
as an emergency thing.
yeah,
Right.
To
The new MRE.
yeah,
Yeah.
just in case one of these matter replicators,
or like a famine,
Famous.
like a famine type thing.
like I that sounds so sci-fi to say it. But what we're talking about is sci-fi. Like it's
What-
like in the 50s, the first time they pulled out the cell phone device, I can't remember what it's called on Star Trek, and went, Kirk to McCoy,
Yeah,
and you're like, oh, that's amazing. And then you saw one in the 90s.
yeah,
This whole thing was sci-fi until Microsoft
Until
created-
what, a year and a half ago?
Well, this was last week that they actually got this thing that worked.
Well, they reported on it, last year?
Yeah, this actually came out like a few weeks ago.
Okay. I'm here for it. I like it.
And this new, I think it's called Margiana
Yeah.
1. Like it's going to be tested, and it's going to be tested by outside labs. And if it works, it's great. The one thing is it's not magic, right? Like it's not going to solve all of our problems overnight. Like the people who control it are going to use it to solve the problems they want to solve first.
yeah. Oh yeah,
And
no doubt.
hopefully that is in pharmaceuticals. Like, let's figure out how
Yeah.
to solve some cancer problems or
Or like
Like-
freaking. Well, look. You said Microsoft, right?
yeah,
Is Bill Gates still
he
hooked
still
up?
owns it.
So there you go. There's the vaccines.
Here's the question. Is money power?
No,
Is money power?
no.
Are you sure?
I'm positive.
Does it buy? It buys you. It can buy you stuff.
power.
It can buy you a lot of power.
Yeah. Power's influence.
Are, oof, I don't want to say these words. Are the powers that be going to allow such a thing?
That's where the struggle is going to be, and that's why we said whoever's developing it now, you would think that they're looking at the legal aspect for it, the ethical, what happens, because if, like Bob's saying, or your dad, if it's going to be that powerful, you just don't want it in one person or like a group that, they're wealthy, but you don't want them just to have that to themselves where they can manipulate, like kind of like I know you know about the stuff, the Illuminati, all those wealthy, supposedly intelligent people get together and they decide on what's going to happen for the rest of the world.
Yes.
Yeah, so I don't want that to happen. I think at first, it's going to go through the testing stages and stuff like that. Maybe work on a certain, or look at certain things that may be a need for it to fix now, or let's work on this on a small scale and then upsize it if it's positive. But I think there's going to have to be like, unfortunately, there's going to be lawyers involved, because what happens if something happens to an individual? Can we sue that? Can we sue Microsoft?
Yeah, I think it's beyond
Yeah.
lawyers. I think
Yeah.
we need governments involved. Like, we need governments making guide rails and saying,
Somebody write that one down.
Yeah.
Somebody-
and I don't want the government involved in my life, so you better mark that on the tape here. But we need them to be involved, because like this thing could go rogue, and once it goes rogue, like we won't have control of it. And I don't like that. Not because I'm afraid of it, but I'm afraid of the people who could abuse it.
Yeah, because you think about like Putin, that would be a fine example. Kim Jong-un, the mullahs in Iran. Like, I'm not saying that we haven't done some bad things, but it's like, what happened? We get the nuclear weapon, we use it, and then oh crap, this is bad.
Yeah. So I think what happens in reality, this thing isn't magic, and it's not going to, change the consciousness of the world. But I do think it vastly, if it's true and they can make it sustainable and they can make it work, like it helps us solve problems, medical problems for sure. Like maybe we get to a point where we can come up with these solutions. It will certainly help with AI optimization. And making that process faster, which is already scary in my mind. And then I think one of the biggest things that we talked about in another podcast, make sure you go back and watch that podcast,
Watch the other.
is what this is going to do for robotics. Because right now, when you think about robotic joints, right, like you're thinking about it's either a 1 or a 0. This can see all the options. It's no longer a 1 or a 0. It lives in its own space, so that joint can now move more freely than it ever has been able to move. So instead of seeing those robots that, this,
really.
this is going to completely change that.
Well, and again, that's what's scary about it, though, because I could see like that take humans out of the out of the combat.
I don't think if I was the government today, I would never take humans out of the military.
Yeah.
I think.
I think there's going to be people at the top, but if you can, like they're saying, with the advancement in the Air Force and the was it the F-47, because it's after Trump. That plane, and it'll have drones, and it's like this is the master plane, and those other drones, it communicates with those other drones planes that are right next to it to go do their mission. And the reason why they're doing that, so they can pull the pilot out so he doesn't die, he or she doesn't die,
Right.
and stuff like that. But it almost, in a way, Jay, it scares me, is because it'd be like the Terminator.
Yeah.
I hope that we've learned from those things moving forward. Yay. Speaking of not learning from our past mistakes or popular fiction, did you see that they found a completely intact dinosaur embryo?
No. No. Oh, that's
Where was this at?
I watched the video.
Oh, was it just recently
Yeah,
or
it was just
okay?
recently a completely intact dinosaur embryo with amniotic fluid and
Oh gosh.
like the whole thing.
Was
So
it a T-Rex?
no, but it was a predator.
Oh,
It was a
jeez.
carnivore.
Oh, jeez. That's
'Cause-
scary, man.
Well,
This gets me so excited because I don't think.
Because we don't learn.
well,
I would love to. I don't know if I'd love to see a T-Rex. I could care either way. But a Triceratops, if I could lay on a Triceratops stomach while it breathes,
you just rub
I
his
could
belly.
die happy. I could die happy right there.
You might, too.
Yeah.
Just
All right. Well, that's quantum computing for this week. I think there's some exciting stuff going on in that realm, and I think with the AI and the robotics, we got a crazy future coming here. Like and subscribe. Give us the thumbs up.
thumbs up.
Check us out. Let us know if we missed something or if
We can
you
improve.
guys have a topic that you'd love for us to just chat about.
I should make a Facebook profile.
Yeah, we should.
You should make. I do enough stuff. You should make a Facebook.
I'll try to work that in my schedule.
Okay, I'll make it, and you'll be a moderator.
Then we know JK's not going to be involved in Facebook, so he doesn't do any of the social media stuff.
You don't hang out with those people, buddy.
Oh,
That's what
Anyways.
that's what that one guy said. The guy I told you about that.
Yeah.
He thinks there's something about reptilian people.
So maybe.
you just never know, and you never know on these podcasts what we're going to get into next. So until next time, we'll see you here at the Spearhead Project podcast.
See ya.
Yeah. Take care.
Okay, bye.